Dietitians are trying to get a monopoly on practicing nutrition. Now, in North Carolina, it's a misdemeanor, punishable, well, it could be punishable by fines or even prison if anyone that's not a licensed dietitian gives nutritional advice addressing a specific health need. For example, telling a diabetic to avoid sugar. Is this a joke?
Well, yeah, it really is because it's showing you what the politics of medicine is all about. It's about control, it's about dollars, it's about being the one that's the head honcho at making decisions. And the dietitians, they're trained, there's no question, and they're trained fairly well. But they're like having a BA degree, which everybody pretty much has that goes into the nutritional field. And then they have a 6 to 12-month course that they take that's like an internship at some kind of healthcare facility or a community agency or some kind of food service agency. And then they have to pass an exam. And somehow that makes them king of the pile. Well, there are people who are trained much better than that can't practice in the state of North Carolina and several other states because of these laws.
They've even accused a pharmacist, a nurse, an athletic trainer, and a blogger that was giving advice online and even talking on the phone to a friend giving nutritional advice.
Right. Well, I have a friend that has a PhD in nutrition that lives in North Carolina, and she told me about this about a year and a half ago. And when she did, I didn't believe it. And she says, I can't practice nutrition there. I'm going to have to either leave the state or do consultations out of state. And she's an internationally well-known nutritionist who has written many textbooks and is quite an authority. The same thing happened at Duke's alternative medicine school, where somebody apparently was giving nutritional advice, big surprise, and they tried to stop that person from doing it as well.
Well, the main thing is that they say that they don't want anybody else to assess and counsel regarding nutrition. So what is assessing and counseling? How does a person know?
Somebody has an illness and you try to treat it in part by good nutrition that's specific for that particular person. It's illegal in the state of North Carolina.
So in other words, you could tell somebody to avoid sugar because it's not a healthy thing. But if you say don't eat sugar if you're a diabetic, that's when you get in trouble?
Yes, that's right. So we have to do something about stopping that. And there are examples of this all over the place in healthcare. I mean, look at the naturopaths. They tried for 25 years to get licensed in the state of California. And eventually in 2004 they did, thanks to some work that California Citizens for Health Freedom and Frank Cooney did, working with a bunch of us. And now they can practice, they have their own board, and they can do whatever their board says is okay to do. But when you're talking about the medical board telling either nutritionists or naturopaths or chiropractors what to do, that's not right. Just like it isn't right for the American Dietetic Association to be making rules like this.
Well, this board in North Carolina is trying to say that it's for public safety, and they're trying to get it so it's approved in all the states.
Well, you'd have to bet what happened here is somebody who knew a politician was involved with the American Dietetic Association, and that could run deep because the American Dietetic Association is well connected with Big Pharma and well connected with Big Agra, and so there's a lot of power there. And so if Big Agra and Big Pharma can get favors back as they have, as they've endorsed things that they shouldn't, then you could see how this could come about.
Well, this also happens, like you were mentioning with the naturopaths, it also happens with just conventional medicine anyway. For example, with cancer treatment, if somebody has cancer, you're only supposed to be able to prescribe chemotherapy, radiation, or surgery.
That's right.
And if you, as a doctor, suggest something else, you could get your license taken away and
it's a
fined
felony.
and be put in jail
It's
too.
a felony in the state of California. So if you're going to try and practice integrative medicine and give your patient more choices for treatment, it's against the law. So we're again back in Sacramento, the state capital of California, trying to do what we can to change that law so that it will be overturned and it will be legal.
Well, we need medical freedom.
Well, we don't have it. The United States does not have medical freedom. It is not one of our rights. And our forefathers felt that we didn't have the ability to deal with medical things that were technical, and so they left it out on purpose. But we need to go back now because we're getting into trouble. And when you see turf wars like this, where one organization is trying to control the whole situation and getting away with it with laws. I mean, that's time to really do something
Well,
different.
even like those supplement raids, like with Jonathan Wright, they went in there with guns and held him up and raided his supplements because they wanted him to only be using prescription drugs and not be using nutritional supplements. And they've done that for other people too.
Sure. Stanislaw Brzezinski, who was practicing treating cancer in the state of Texas using anti-neoplastins, which apparently work, nearly wound up in jail himself on multiple occasions. The FDA and the Federal Trade Commission was at his doorstep with guns taking his charts and files.
I don't know how we can be so arrogant to just think that only one discipline works. We're noticing that it doesn't work. And this is why a lot of people in the United States end up going to other countries for other types of therapies and treatments and doing things on the side. But this is why we at the Health Medicine Center offer a multitude of disciplines working together. We call it integrative medicine or health medicine.
Right.
Because people should have a choice. It's their health, it's your health, and you should be able to work together with these different disciplines. This is one of the things we do with the healing circles. You have different healthcare practitioners of multiple disciplines sitting at the table at the same time together with the patient to discuss what might be best for them. Certainly there's a time for conventional medicine, but not always.
Well, it shouldn't be the first cab off the rank. It shouldn't be the first thing that you rely on because it's too invasive, costs too much, and it doesn't work. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this epidemic of chronic diseases. So we need to find a way to equalize the playing field when it comes to reimbursement as well. When you're talking about doctors being largely the only ones that are reimbursed for healthcare through insurance, that's wrong too, because even though a few acupuncturists and a few chiropractors are getting some reimbursement, it's not right. They're not getting much. So until we change and make the playing field level and look to any treatment that can be done for a patient in a way that might help them, we're playing favorites, and it's more about economics than it is about trying to provide good service.